Stop scrolling right now. If you are on Social Security, or you are planning to be, what I am about to share with you could genuinely change your entire financial future. In March, millions of Americans are going to see their checks shrink, delays skyrocket, and overpayments hit harder than ever before. And most people have absolutely no idea this is coming. I am going to break down exactly what is happening, why it is happening, and most importantly, what you can do right now to protect yourself before it is too late. Stay with me until the very end, because missing even one detail here could cost you hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Before we go any further, if you are new to Rule by Seniors, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications. Rule by Seniors exists for people exactly like you. Anyone who relies on Social Security, SSI, or Medicare and wants to stay ahead of every single change that could affect their monthly check. We upload videos like this one consistently, breaking down every update step by step so you never get blindsided. Do not wait. Subscribe now and become part of a community that genuinely looks out for one another. Let me start from the very beginning so everyone is on the same page. Social Security has been part of American life since 1935. It was built on one simple idea: that older Americans, people living with disabilities, and surviving family members of workers who passed away would have a steady monthly income to help them get by. Over the decades, it became one of the most important and relied upon programs in this entire country. Right now, roughly 70 million Americans receive some form of Social Security benefit every single month. That includes retirees, disabled individuals, widows, widowers, and even some children. So when something changes inside Social Security, it does not affect a small group of people. It shakes tens of millions of families across every corner of this nation. And that is exactly what is unfolding right now. So what is actually happening in March that has so many people worried and confused? The truth is, several things are hitting at the same time, and when you put them all together, the picture becomes one that a lot of people simply were not prepared for. The first major issue is that the government has been making serious changes to how Social Security is managed and run. There have been significant staffing cuts at the Social Security Administration, the agency responsible for handling every single claim, every payment, and every customer service interaction for the entire program. When you cut staff at an agency serving 70 million people, things start breaking down fast. And that is exactly what is happening. People are waiting longer to get their claims processed. People are waiting longer to get answers to their questions. Social Security offices are more crowded than they have ever been. Some offices have reduced their hours or shut down entirely in certain areas, meaning people who used to walk in and get help now have to drive much farther or sit on hold for hours just to reach someone. On top of the staffing problem, there is another change hitting people directly in their wallets, and it has to do with how Medicare premiums are being deducted from Social Security checks. For many people who are on both Social Security and Medicare, the Medicare Part B premium gets taken out of their check automatically every month. So when Medicare premiums go up, people actually receive less money, even if their Social Security benefit technically increased. And that is precisely what has been happening. At the start of this year, Social Security recipients received a cost of living adjustment, what most people call the COLA. This year, it was about 2.5%, which sounds good on the surface. But here is the problem. The Medicare Part B premium also went up. And for many people, that Medicare increase swallowed most or all of the cost of living adjustment they were supposed to receive. So even though the government announced that Social Security was going up this year, millions of people looked at their checks and saw barely any difference, or in some cases, even less than before. That is deeply frustrating, especially when groceries, rent, utilities, and gas keep climbing month after month with no sign of stopping. Now let me talk about something that is truly catching people off guard in March, and that is the changes to how overpayments are being handled. This is a big one, and it is affecting a lot of people who never saw it coming. Here is how overpayments work. Sometimes the Social Security Administration makes a mistake and pays someone more than they were supposed to receive. Maybe someone's income changed and they did not report it right away. Maybe there was a paperwork error. Maybe someone got married or moved and something changed that should have adjusted their benefit, but the system did not catch it in time. When this happens, Social Security eventually figures it out and sends a letter saying you were overpaid, and now you owe that money back. These overpayment notices have always existed. But what is changing now is how aggressively the government is going after people to collect. In the past, they would typically work with you, take a small amount out of your check each month until the balance was paid back. But the rules have changed. Now the government is withholding a much larger percentage of people's checks to recover these overpayments. We are talking about situations where people are seeing their entire Social Security check cut in half, or even worse because the government claims they were overpaid at some point in the past. And many of these people had absolutely no idea they were overpaid. They did nothing wrong. They did not try to game the system. They simply received the money the government sent them and used it for their bills, their groceries, their medicine, exactly as anyone would. And now, out of nowhere, they are getting letters demanding thousands of dollars back while their checks are being slashed. For someone living on a fixed income, losing half of their Social Security check is catastrophic. That is the difference between keeping a roof over your head and losing it. That is the difference between affording your medication and being forced to skip doses. Here is something critically important that everyone needs to hear. If you receive an overpayment notice, you have rights. You have the right to appeal. You have the right to request a waiver, which means you can ask the government to forgive the overpayment if repaying it would cause you genuine financial hardship. And you have the right to request a lower repayment amount if what they are taking from your check is more than you can handle. The problem is that most people do not know any of this. Most people receive that letter, panic, and assume there is nothing they can do. That is not true. If an overpayment notice arrives, read it carefully first. Then contact the Social Security Administration and ask about every option available to you. Appeal it. Request a waiver. Negotiate the terms. Do not sit down and accept it without fighting for what you deserve. Now let me go deeper on something I touched on earlier, inflation, because it is silently crushing Social Security recipients in ways that do not always make the headlines. The cost of living adjustment is supposed to help recipients keep up with rising prices. Every year, the government looks at inflation data and adjusts benefits accordingly. But the way the government measures inflation does not always match what real people are actually experiencing in their daily lives. The government uses the Consumer Price Index, and while it tracks a wide range of goods and services, it does not accurately reflect the specific things that seniors and disabled individuals spend the majority of their money on. Healthcare costs have been rising far faster than overall inflation for years. Housing costs have been climbing much faster too. Prescription drug prices have gone through the roof, and these are the exact categories that take the biggest bite out of a Social Security recipient's budget. So when the government says inflation is 2.5% and gives everyone a 2.5% raise, it sounds reasonable on paper. But if your healthcare costs went up 8%, your rent went up 10%, and your groceries went up 6%, that 2.5% raise does not even come close to covering the gap. That is why so many Social Security recipients feel like they are falling further behind every single year, even when they are technically getting a raise. The math simply does not work in their favor, and it has not for a long time. There is also deep uncertainty right now about the future of Social Security itself, and that uncertainty is causing real anxiety among tens of millions of people. There has been growing talk in Washington about cutting government spending and reducing federal programs. And while nobody has directly said Social Security benefits are being cut, what is happening behind the scenes tells a different story. When you cut staff at the Social Security Administration, you make it harder for people to access their benefits. When you close field offices, you make it harder for people to get help. When you change the overpayment rules and start clawing money back more aggressively, you are effectively reducing people's benefits, even if you never use the words benefit cut. And all of this is happening while the Social Security Trust Fund itself is already under serious pressure. The Social Security trustees have been warning for years that the trust fund will face significant trouble in the not-too-distant future. Current projections suggest the fund could be depleted sometime in the early to mid-2030s, which is not far away at all. That does not mean Social Security would disappear entirely. Even if the trust fund runs dry, payroll taxes would still be coming in and would cover roughly 75 to 80% of scheduled benefits. But a 20 to 25% cut in benefits would be absolutely devastating for millions of Americans who depend on Social Security as their primary or only source of income. Let me also address what is happening to people who are trying to apply for Social Security for the very first time. If you are approaching retirement age or applying for disability benefits, the process has become far more difficult and far more time-consuming than it used to be. Because of the staffing cuts and office closures, it is taking much longer to get applications processed. People are waiting weeks or even months before receiving their first check. Some people are being asked to provide additional documentation that was never required before, causing further delays and confusion. And for those applying for Social Security disability benefits, the situation is even more dire. Wait times were already long before all of this. Now they have stretched even further. If you are too sick or too injured to work, and you are waiting months for your disability claim to be approved, how are you supposed to pay your bills in the meantime? How do you keep a roof over your head? How do you afford the medical treatment you need to survive? Now let me talk about what you can actually do to protect yourself and make sure you are receiving everything you are entitled to. First, if you have not already, go to ssa.gov and create a My Social Security account. This lets you see your complete earnings record, check your benefit estimates, and identify any issues with your account. Check your earnings record regularly. If any year's earnings appear missing or incorrect, report it immediately. Errors in your record can directly reduce the benefits you receive, and you deserve every dollar you have earned. Second, keep copies of every piece of correspondence you receive from the Social Security Administration. Every letter, every notice, every statement. Put it all in a folder and store it somewhere safe. If there is ever a dispute about your benefits or you need to file an appeal, having everything organized will make an enormous difference. A surprising number of people throw away Social Security letters without even reading them. That is a mistake that can cost you dearly. Third, be extremely alert to scams. Whenever there are changes to Social Security and confusion in the air, scammers emerge to take advantage of vulnerable people. You may receive phone calls from people claiming to be from the Social Security Administration, saying your benefits are being suspended, or that you need to verify your personal information immediately. Do not fall for it. The Social Security Administration will never call you and threaten to suspend your benefits. They will never ask for your Social Security number over the phone. They will never ask you to pay a fee to keep your benefits active. If you receive a call like that, hang up immediately. It is a scam. If you are ever unsure whether a communication is legitimate, call Social Security directly at their official number, 1-800-772-1213. Never call a number that a suspicious caller or email gives you. Fourth, contact your congressional representatives. I know many people feel that calling their senator or representative does not matter, but it does. Congressional offices have staff specifically trained to help constituents with Social Security issues. If your claim is stalled, if you are dealing with an overpayment problem, if you cannot get anyone to help you, your congressional office can often intervene and move things forward. And beyond your individual situation, when enough people call their representatives about Social Security, it creates real pressure on lawmakers to act. Politicians pay attention when their phones will not stop ringing. This is exactly why Rule by Seniors exists. At Rule by Seniors, we believe that staying informed is the most powerful tool you have. The more people who understand what is happening with Social Security right now, the better equipped we all are to protect ourselves and to demand that those in power do what is right. So let us bring it all together. March is bringing significant and serious challenges for Social Security recipients across this country. The staffing cuts at the Social Security Administration are causing major delays. Medicare premium increases are eating into cost of living adjustments. Aggressive overpayment collections are blindsiding people on fixed incomes. Processing times for new claims are stretching longer and longer. And the ongoing pressure of inflation on fixed incomes continues to squeeze millions of families who have nowhere left to turn. But you are not powerless. Check your account online. Keep your paperwork organized. Appeal decisions you believe are wrong. Reach out to your congressional representatives. And stay informed. so that nothing catches you off guard. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. That means everything. If this video helped you, please hit the like button and share it with everyone you know, especially anyone on Social Security or planning to apply soon. And make sure you are subscribed to Rule by Seniors with notifications turned on, because this story is going to keep developing, and Rule by Seniors will be here covering every single update as it happens. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.